Hey, everybody, welcome to the Jesus is Changing My Life podcast. This is a space where everyday people will share their stories about how Jesus is changing their life. We hope you enjoy this episode, and we hope it encourages you to tell others about the God who is changing your life as well. Hey, everyone, welcome back. I am with my friend Patrick Shepard, who's a member of Connection Point and a lover of Jesus. And so, Patrick, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. Hey, the goal today is to have two conversations. The goal first is to have a conversation about when was the moment that Jesus changed your eternity, right? The moment where you said, yes, that I want to be a follower of Jesus. And I'd love to hear some of your background and how you got to that point. And the second conversation we want to have, and this is called the Jesus is Changing My Life podcast. What we're really trying to do, Patrick, is we're trying to create conversations about how Jesus is actively working in our life in the present. And we believe that if we could spend more time talking about those things, that maybe this world could change. And so would you just kind of give us a little bit of your story and how you found Jesus?
Sure. So, like many, I was a teenager, and I was raised Catholic. So I didn't really have that knowledge of who the Christian Jesus was, or salvation, or anything like that. And I had friends that were in youth group, and they just invited me to come with them a couple times, and I had a few friends that had found Jesus. And just through going to youth groups, going to church with them, I just, gave my life to Christ when I was, probably about 15. I don't really remember like a specific day. I just remember more of like a time period. And I was just hanging out with some kids I really should have been hanging out with. And I just noticed that I felt my life was changing, and I needed to distance myself from these people and start gravitating towards people who were just doing better things with their life, and who wanted to be with other believers and fellowshipping.
So like you're 15 years old, it sounds like you had two groups of friends. You had the group of friends who were inviting you to youth group and a different group of friends?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
I had friends who were running the streets and being stupid, and then, I had other friends who were, involved in youth group and going to Christian concerts and retreats and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So trying to find that division was very difficult at the time.
Yeah. So you're 15 years old, you're in youth group, and you're looking around, and you're like, okay, this Jesus is probably a real deal.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
And I was really big into music at that time. So I started to gravitate towards a lot of Christian music, replacing, kind of what I was listening to at the time. And it really was a huge part of my journey, because I was like, wow, I can worship in these different ways. It doesn't have to be at church. I could throw my headphones on. I mean, I was a kid who always had headphones on. I could throw my headphones on and worship and rock out with Jesus.
I think the most important question I have to ask you right now, because I'm assuming just based on your age, we're talking like 90s when you found Jesus.
Yeah.
So I have to know what Christian music you were listening to.
So I listened to, so at that point it was everything. I listened to, listening to like everything from John Gibson to like Christian metal to Christian rap. I would have a Stephen Curtis Chapman cassette, and then I would also have like a One Bad Pig cassette. I would like listen to Petra, and then I would listen to like even some like pretty heavy Christian music at the time, which and there was a church in Columbus called the King's Place, if you remember that, and saw some just great shows there, and it was just awesome connecting with people that were into the same thing I was, and to know that they loved Jesus and I could kind of be myself, and not create some false persona.
If you're listening to this podcast and you're under the age of 30, Patrick used a word that I need to define for you. It's the word cassette. This is pre-compact disc or CD. Maybe you're unfamiliar with what CDs are as well. But it was like a little kind of tape that was inside of a plastic covering that played music. Ask your parents, and they can help you understand what a cassette was.
With the headphones that had a little piece of foam surrounding
foam
them.
on the headphones, because there was no such thing as earbuds. Right? They went over the ear. Man, those were the days. I remember when I got my Sony Discman.
Oh, yeah.
Where it was like the first portable CD player, and it had anti-shock.
That way you could like walk around with it.
Walk around and listen to CDs.
Yes.
Bro. I mean, that's pretty high tech.
Yeah, Sony had it on lock back then. Everything they made the best stuff.
They did. Man, so you were 15, you found Jesus, and on the other end of that, has it just been awesome? Like, have you just been following Jesus the whole time?
No. No, it has. I mean, to look back now, it has been awesome because now I see how every single decision and choice that I made, God used to lead me up to where I'm at. So, I mean, I was hot and heavy in the beginning, right? I mean, we all are, especially at that age. Yep. And then things started to fade a little bit in my teenage years. Had some relationship issues, a few failed marriages, and then just found myself very distant from God. Not that he wasn't close,
sure, but
I was running the other direction. And then probably, it would have been late 2020, early 2021. I had a friend who was struggling with alcohol addiction really bad, and him and I still, and he's actually the one who invited me to the early youth groups that I went to. His name is Jeremy. He's 3.5 years sober, by the way, now, which is amazing.
That's awesome.
And he
just got married, right?
He did get married, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, shotgun wedding. Yeah. But
if you're listening, Jeremy, like happy sobriety and congratulations on the marriage.
Yeah. He was contacted by Matt Daniel, and Matt said, "Hey, I see you've been reaching out, on Facebook for help. I see that you're struggling. We're getting ready to start a discipleship group. We call it a D-Huddle. And, would you like to meet and join?" So, Jeremy, knowing that that I still had under everything, I still had a love for the Word. I still had a love for God, even though my wife would tell you she never would have guessed that. But so we started attending the D-Huddle with Matt Daniel, and it just, things started clicking again. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden and I remember I got really sick around that time too. I don't know if it was COVID, probably was, I don't know, I don't remember, but I remember just laying there, and my dad had just passed recently, so it's just a combination of all this stuff. And I was like, wow, I was like, God he never left me. Yeah. He never, even though I was running, I was trying to do everything I could to not hold on to him. He was holding on to me. Yeah. And I realized it. I'm like, oh my gosh, what have I been doing? This is so crazy. And then I started to see how every step, and just from that point on, my family started attending church here, and my wife said she just started to see a change, and it just, and it all hasn't been great, to go back to your question, it all hasn't been awesome, but it's a lot better than just wandering through the darkness like I was for
Yeah.
20-some years.
Man, that's awesome. I think about, like, I'm listening to your story, and I'm thinking about, like, just the faithfulness of God. That that language of He'll never leave you or forsake you is real, and 20 years away or whatever
Right.
it is that you were running, like, the Lord, when you were ready to see Him, you didn't have to go find Him again. So, like, if you're listening to this podcast and you are at a place in your life where you feel like you're moving the opposite direction of God, just know that when you finally surrender, you won't have to find Him. He'll be right there.
Right.
Isn't that cool? It's so cool about the character
And
of God.
you see, like, I think almost every day I look back and I just see, like, how every single decision, like the horrible, like the stupid things, and just all the bad decisions. Yeah, they were bad decisions, but, like, at the end of the day, they were decisions that God used.
Yeah. He can
And it's-
redeem all of our bad choices, for sure.
Right. And all the people too. Like, a lot of people think that God only uses believers. I mean, God in my life has used a lot of non-believers to push me in certain directions.
Sure.
And it all brought me here. And I think that's when you can see that part of your journey, when you can see the turns and twists in the road, and you can see how it all led you here, I feel like it makes you so much more thankful,
Yeah.
because then you stop having all the regrets that you had.
Yeah. I love that. So not only has He changed you, and you've already started to discuss how He continues to change you, but, like, if you had to kind of just even briefly just share, like, how, even if it's small or it's incomplete, like, how is Jesus changing you? What is Jesus teaching you right now?
Well, I just see a lot of, it's like a lot of little things. So how I interact with people and treat people, I'm a lot more conscious these days of people's feelings. If how I approach somebody, how I need to be aware of how they're feeling and how I need to act around them. It's just a consciousness. And then I have like a craving to learn and be in the Word. And I will tell you, like, there's some days where I have that craving and I don't follow it. I'm not going to lie. I can't tell you that, like, I wake up and I'm craving to be in the Word, and so I just get in it. Some days I don't always do that, but I have that craving and I have that want and desire, and it, like, never goes away.
Yeah.
So, like, but sometimes, sometimes they also can get, like, get annoying sometimes too. Mm-hmm. And especially, when you have that conscience, especially about other people, sometimes you just want to, like, push it aside. But, like, when Jesus is changing you, you can't push it to the side.
Right.
He's like plugging it right there.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and the way He changes us is to look more like Him.
yeah.
Right? So, like, He is so considerate of others. And it's not just, well, this is just the way it is, so suck it up. He's meeting people where they are. He's listening to how they see the world. He's taking people from where they are to being more like Him. And I think that's what you're saying is, like, I've got to live in a way that I take other people into consideration and remind myself that it's not about me.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's also changing my life as a parent. I wasn't walking with Jesus and raising, like, my older kids, and there's some things that happened that I definitely would have handled a lot differently. But in just the way that I parent and that I just look at my relationship with my kids now, I think Jesus is changing that every day for me.
Yeah.
And my kids, they've seen that too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been an awesome thing to see as well.
Well, and what's interesting is I think it's a good reminder, Patrick, that no matter how old our kids get, because you've got 2 still in high school, right?
Yeah.
And the rest are adults.
Yep.
And, if you're out there and you've got lots of regret about the way you parented, and now your kids are adults and you think it's too late, it's not too late
Right.
to parent them like Jesus. And it's not too late for them to be affected by your relationship with the Lord. And that's what I'm hearing from you is like even on the back end, now they see how Jesus is changing you, even though they're adults.
Right.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, thank you for just spending a little bit of time with us. I hope that this has been encouraging for you all to hear. I think what I'm walking away with is a few things. I think I'm walking away with a reminder that Jesus never leaves us, and that Jesus can take all of our bad decisions and he can redeem them for his glory, and that Jesus will use the people around us, whether or not they're strong followers, and that when we follow Jesus, we start to look and love him and love others the way he loves others. And finally, that our parenting is never over. And because of Christ, you can still show your kids Jesus, even if they're grown.
Amen.
Thanks, man. It's been, honestly, as your pastor, it's been awesome the last 3 years to watch you grow.
Well, it's been awesome to be growing under, just under Jesus again, and just under this great church family overall.
Yeah, it's I can see it. Like I can see what Jesus is doing. It's why I wanted to talk to you, because I can see it. So, well, thanks for joining us. Hey, if you have a story that you want to share on the podcast about how Jesus is changing your life, I'm going to invite you to go to www.jesusischangingmylife.com, and there's a form on there you can fill out, and you can potentially get on a conversation with me about how Jesus is changing you as well. And if there's others in your life that don't know the Lord, and you feel like no matter what scripture you send them, it doesn't change them at all, maybe it's because they're waiting to see how Jesus is changing you, not just what you have to share with them. And if you can put into language how Jesus is changing you, maybe it'll spark something in them. So thanks for joining us. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.